In this video, we turn this plain old Prado into my dream overlanding vehicle with the help of the 4x4 experts at Big Country. And watch right to the end of the video if you want to see what I've named the Prado. Believe me, it's a good one. I bought this vehicle about 5 years ago and I absolutely love the shape of the 90 series Prado. This one's got a 3-litre KZTE turbo diesel engine in and it's done over 400,000 kilometers, but it's still going strong. Now, those of you that follow my adventures here on the Safari Expert YouTube channel will know that I absolutely love overlanding. And over the last few years, I've actually traveled throughout Africa in different cars. Last year though, I took this one up to northern Botswana to explore the stunning Kwai concession. But I had to tow a bush trailer because the Prado has virtually no overlanding extras. What it does have is a snorkel and a relatively new set of all-terrain tires. But it doesn't have a roof rack, which means there's no space for important things like jerry cans, a high lift jack, wood, a water tank, or a second spare wheel. And there's also no drawers, dual battery system or camping fridge in the back. Just plenty of wasted space. But that's all about to change because I'm heading down to Johannesburg to give the Prado a facelift. It's a chilly morning here in Johannesburg and I am at the Big Country Fitment Centre in Kempton Park. And I thought before we start the Prado's transformation build, let me quickly tell you which things we're going to change and what things are going to stay the same. Now, if you ask me, there are 3 things that you cannot go without if you want to go overlanding. And the first thing is a roof rack. Now, the reason for that, there are a few very big items that you just cannot put in the car. So you either have to tow them behind you in a bush trailer, which I hate to do, or you have to put them on the top. Now, for me, the most important thing is extra fuel. You see, with these old Prados, I wasn't able to source a long-range tank that fits at the bottom, so I'm going to put 4 20-litre jerry cans at the top that gives me 80 litres of extra diesel. And that just allows me to get to very remote places. Now, speaking of which, if you go deep into the wilderness, you want to take a second spare wheel with as well. And that thing is massive and it's obviously not going to fit inside. So that's going to go on top as well, together with things like a high lift jack and a spade and wood and gas bottles. The second thing that we're going to change is in the back of the vehicle. So at the moment you'll see that this is just a big empty open space and that makes it incredibly difficult to pack. There's always stuff on the top that you've got to remove first if you want to get to something at the bottom, and it's just completely impractical. So what we're going to fit here is a twin drawer system from Big Country, and on top of that a fridge slider that drops down with a big fridge freezer on top of that. And that brings me to the third important item that we're going to fit, and that's a dual battery system. And that's going to keep that fridge charged, along with things like my laptop, camera batteries, and anything else that needs charging. Now, there is a fourth item that I was a little bit reluctant to add initially when I started planning the build, and that is an awning. And the reason for that is the old design of the awnings, where it pulled out from the side, it was incredibly cumbersome to open and close it, especially if you're only one person. But when I saw the Big Country Ostrich Wing and how easy it opens and closes and just how much shade it provides, I just couldn't resist, and I'm definitely going to add that as well. Let's quickly talk about the things that we're not going to change on the Prado. And it's probably worth mentioning here that you don't need all the bells and whistles when you kit your car for overlanding. It's about traveling safely, comfortably, and also staying within your budget. Now, the first obvious item that I'm not going to add is a rooftop tent. And the reason for this is, well, in the past, when they used to open to the side like this, I found them, again, incredibly cumbersome and time-consuming to open and close, and that took away a lot of my valuable game drive time in the morning. These days, the newer designs that open sort of to the back like this, they're a lot easier and quicker to open and close, and I'll show you the Big Country rooftop tent a little bit later. But the problem is it takes up so much real estate on top of the roof rack. And as I mentioned earlier, because I need those jerry cans and the second spare wheel, there's just no space for me to add it. So I'm going to be camping on the ground. Another thing that we won't be changing is the suspension. Suspension is obviously incredibly important when you overland, but because I already had Allman Emu suspension fitted to the car when I bought it second hand, there's no need for me to change it. And then lastly, we'll come to the front of the car. As you can see, it still has its little original nudge bar. I could have added a big fancy bull bar, but for me, that's really just cosmetic, so I'm going to leave this one. And I'm also not going to fit big spotlights because I never ever drive at night in Africa. And lastly, no need to fit a winch. I've never seen the need for it, at least where I drive, so I'm going to leave that out as well. And that gives you an idea of what's going to change on the Prado over the next couple of days. Let's get started on the build.
The Prado was in the safe hands of Devon, Sparky and Andrea, who would be transforming the vehicle over a 2-day period. First to go on was the roof rack and the camping table. Like I said earlier, I prefer to camp on the ground to save some space on top of my roof rack. But let me quickly show you what the Big Country rooftop tent looks like.
This is the Big Country rooftop tent that I spoke about earlier. And like I said, it's very quick and easy to open. It's as simple as just undoing 2 little clips in the front, and then it actually lifts up on its own. And then all you have to do is to open a few zips and to add these 2 supports in the front. But like I said, it takes up so much space on the roof rack that it doesn't make sense for me to add one. Right, so the roof rack is finally up. The next step is to fit the awning.
Just look how quick and easy it is to open the Ostrich Wing awning.
Tippy-toe step of locking that up.
So Dev's going to show us how strong this awning is. Here we go. So Sparky is just busy finishing fitting the Ostrich Wing awning here behind me, and as you can see, we have fitted one of the 4 side panels. And I tell you, I'm incredibly excited about those because what they allow you to do is to block out harsh sunlight, wind or even rain when you're out in the bush, and that gives you the opportunity to make a nice cozy little room or office in the field.
I can't tell you how much I enjoyed documenting the Prado's transformation. And none of this would be possible without the support of my patrons. You guys are the best. For those of you that don't know, Patreon is an online platform that allows you to support your favorite content creators by making a small monthly donation. And in return for that, you get rewards like early access to my videos, behind the scenes footage, and wildlife wallpapers for your smartphone. So if you'd like to support my adventures, please follow the link at the top of the video description and consider making a pledge.
So it's the start of day 2 here at Big Country, and yesterday we had a very successful day fitting most of the things to the top of the Prado, including the roof rack as well as that Ostrich Wing awning. On top of the roof rack we put on the jerry cans, a water tank, a gas bottle, the second spare wheel, as well as a high lift jack, a spade and an axe. So the only thing left to fit on top of the car today is a Big Country wood box. Today we're going to be working predominantly on the inside of the car. So we're going to be fitting that Big Country drawer system, a fridge slider with the fridge freezer itself, a dual battery system, and then a second water tank. And then right at the end of the day, we're going to be giving the Prado a facelift as well.
Side you want the taxi to go?
So we're doing a little bit of rearrangement on top of the roof rack. When the wood box finally arrived, which was the last item to go on the roof rack, we realized there's not enough space between the second spare wheel and where the spade is. So what we've decided to do, we're going to move that second spare wheel and the wood box back a little bit to leave some space in the front for my second table. And that's what's so great about this Big Country roof rack. It's very easy to move items around and bolt them in place in the best possible positions.
Devon also custom made 2 stepping plates for the front of the car that will allow me to climb up onto the roof rack without damaging the bonnet. The Prado was finally starting to look like a proper overlanding vehicle, and I have to say what really impressed me was how thorough the team from Big Country were throughout the fitment. Always cleaning and treating any surfaces of the car before they fitted any of the products, and making sure that things are properly tightened and secured so that they wouldn't rattle loose or leak in the field.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, this Prado has done some miles. It's 26 years old, but that's what I love about it. The fact that it's so easy to find parts for and to fix in the bush, and that I don't have to worry about scratches if I drive through dense vegetation. And now that it's fully kitted for overlanding, it's going to allow me to stay in wilder places for that much longer because I'm completely self-sufficient. And I'm sure you'll all agree that it looks absolutely amazing. So I just want to use this opportunity to thank the team at Big Country for the incredible job they did over the last 2 days. I'll link to their website in the video description if you want to go and check out any of the products that they fitted, or if you want to bring in your own vehicle to have it kitted for overlanding. I'm also going to go to Mapungubwe National Park next week to test everything out, so keep an eye out for that video. There's only one thing left to do, and for that we're going to jump back to Hoedspruit. So a while ago on Instagram, I asked my followers to give me some suggestions of what we could call the Prado, and someone called Micah Fur 1894 came up with the best name ever. So I'm here at our Hoedspruit sign shop, and they've printed the name for the front of the car, and we're going to paste it on right now.
Last year I had the privilege of meeting Tom Cruise in person when he came to Hoedspruit to film Mission Impossible, and I have to admit, he really impressed me. He still looks and acts half his age, much like this Prado of mine that's still going strong after 417,000 kilometers. And so starts the adventures of Tom Cruiser.